Hi everyone, hope you're doing good. Welcome to the next video on my YouTube channel. My name is Saurabh Bharti, Microsoft Dynamics 365 professional. This is the platform where I come and share my knowledge and experience with you all. So without further delay, let's start today's topic. And today we are going to talk about a new feature which has been released in 10.0.41 and which is I think was a very much required feature, which is around the customer prepayments on the sales order. We had a certain some functionality on the prepayment for the customer prepayment for the sales order earlier, but that was not really good, and also it was deprecated. Now we have a new feature which has come into the 10.0.41, so we will explore that today. So let's start with that. So if I move to the next one, let's try to understand with a simple use case. For example, you have a sales order, USMF, let's say, creates a sales order with the worth of, let's say, $10,000. Now, and also they request the customer 60% advance, the USD. So how that process is going to work, how they will raise the invoice, how they will settle that against the final invoice on the customer. So we are going to look into this. If you move forward, like some of the required configuration which we need to consider for this, first thing is we need to enable this feature, and this feature is currently in the preview, so we can't use this in production as of now. But yeah, we can give it a try, explore this, test it out. Then there are a few configurations which we need to do. One is on the posting profile. How do we set up the customer prepayment posting profile where the advance are going to tracked. Then we have the AR parameters where we need to set up certain options, and then also the number sequences. There are some additional number sequences which we need to create. We need to use the process automation background process, so we need to set up for that. And then we also need a ER configuration for the invoice model for the prepayment, that how it is going to be, how you are going to print the invoices. So we will talk about those configurations, but also let's understand that what we are expecting out of it. So when the stage is prepayment, the customer is going to be debited the customer balance, and then you are going to have the customer advance, which is your prepayment, which will come from your posting profile. Then you have a customer payment journal which will be created where you will knock off this invoice, so your balance is sitting under the customer advance, the prepayment account. Now there will be a final invoice which you will be doing. So let's say a customer will be debit 10,000 and 10,000 is revenue credit if it's just a let's say a sales invoice. So now when we will apply the customer advance, the end result should be that the customer advance where the credit is sitting should be debited, should come out, and then the customer should be credited. So net your customer balance should be the $4,000 once the advance is being settled against this particular invoice. So we'll explore all these things. So now let's move to the Dynamics and let's see that how we can configure all these things and then test them out. So the first thing is that we need to go to feature management and enable that feature. So we will go to the feature management, and there is one feature which is being released in 10.0.41. So this feature needs to be enabled first. So that's the first thing which we need to do. The next thing which we can do is the posting profile. So you can go to inventory management. You can go to the setup. Under the setup you have posting, and then you have this posting. So Under the sales order postings, you will find additional posting, which is customer prepayment. Here you can configure your the advance account from the chart of account which you want to configure. I have configured in a very generic way, but normally what you can do is that in your sales category hierarchy, you can create a node for the customer advances, or you can call it as a customer prepayment, and against that you can configure this particular main account. So that is next thing which we can do it. Post that we also have certain parameters which we can configure. So we can go to the setup of account receivable and account receivable parameters here. Now on the parameters, one of the thing is that you can go to ledger and sales tax, and here you also have two options, like you can set up a notification for the prepayment application when the prepayment exists, like you have in the accounts payable, like you want to give a notification or you want to automatic apply. So that option is available here. Apart from that, you can also, if I remember correctly, there was a one checkbox. Yeah, so you have a control also that do you want the prepayment invoice to be created without the sales order confirmation, yes or no. If you don't want, then you can enable this particular parameter. Then we will move to the different number sequences which we need to configure for this. So if you will scroll down, you will see that there are multiple prepayment number sequences which are available here. So you can create, one is the prepayment invoice, so when you are raising the invoice first time, then the voucher against that, the financial voucher. Prepayment invoice reversal, it is when you apply that prepayment to your final invoice and the voucher which gets created against that. Okay, so these are the different number sequences which you need to create. Possibly you can also run you can create them manually by providing these references, or you can just run your number sequence wizard to create that. The next thing is you can have now you have to print your invoices. So to print your invoices, prepayment invoices, you need to import the configuration from your repository, and you need to use the Dataverse repository for that. And you will have something called as customer prepayment invoice model mapping and the prepayment invoice format, which you can just put a keyword here, let's say prepayment, and you will be able to see all those three. So you need to import all these three. Once you import them, you will be able to see them under your reporting configuration here. So once it is available, now you need to map to the accounts payable parameter for printing using this particular model. So you can go to accounts payable parameter, receivable parameter, and then here you can map that prepayment invoice template which you want to use for printing this. So this is about how you will print your prepayment invoice and using which format. Now the next one, the last one, is that as per the process, when you settle the prepayment invoice with your final invoice, it goes through a background process or through the process automation. So you need to make sure that you have initialized process automation enabled, and then in the background processes you will find an automated prepayment invoice posting process. You can run this every minute so that you can have your prepayment with your final invoice at a near time. So you can configure this. By default it will be an hour frequency, but if you want to change it, you can just change this. Okay, so that is the required one which you need to have it for your configuration. So this is more or less your all the configurations which you have it. Now let's start with one of the process. So how it is going to work. So let's say if I will have a sales order, So I will create one sales order here, and I will click on new. Select any customer. So let's say if I select this customer here, I can select a site warehouse and I can click on OK. Now I have my sales order line available for me. I can select a product here. For now, let's say if I select this product, I can put one quantity, and then possibly I can enter a unit price, let's say 10,000. Okay, so now once that is done, I will save this. Now once it is saved, I can, if you will go to the invoice tab, you will find an additional option here, a group of prepayment. So first is that you can click on prepayment proposal here, that how you want to collect the advances. Now this is similar to your purchase order prepayment. So you can define that what type of prepayment you want to collect, a fixed amount, or you want to have a percentage. So let's say I want to have 60%. So I can just save this. Now it is asking me to select a category. So as this is what I was saying, you can have a category defined on your sales category hierarchy for the advances. Now I will save this. Now you can see there is some amount it is showing. The amount is that is because of the tax I have on top of 10,000. But that is the idea, that we are going to collect a 7304. So it is including the tax. Now if I want to remove the tax, what I can do is, for a simplicity, I'll just remove the tax component from it, and then save, and then again go to my prepayment proposal. And now it is saying that it is different for the sales order. Do you want to reload? So we can say yes. Okay, so now we can just put it again, the 6. So here it is shows that what is the total amount you can have it. So based on that, you can just enter your detail. So I enter 60%. Now it is 6,000, and I can select a category. So this is what I want to collect. So this is my prepayment proposal for this I have created. Now the next thing for this I will do is that I need to generate the customer prepayment invoice, which I can give it to my customer where they can make a payment against it. So I will click on prepayment invoice, and at this point of time, if you see, it is giving me the error that it has to be confirmed sales order. And why it is giving, if you remember, we enabled the parameter. So I can just simply go and confirm my order here, and now my sales order is being confirmed. Now I can go to the invoice tab and create a prepayment invoice here. So I can see the details are available here. I can select a date, and the status right now is open here. Okay, now I have not received any, I have not generated this, so I can just click on the post here, and it has been posted. Now if you look at this, the status is pending, which means the invoice has been generated, but the amount has not been received from the customer. Now I can look at the voucher posted by this invoice here. So if you look at it, it is putting in the debit into your customer account, and then the customer deposit, the prepayment account which we have mapped on the posting profile, is being credited. Now if I want to print this, I can click on the print here, and this will be printing my invoice, the format, the electronic reporting format which we have defined in the parameters. So this has been created here. Now for the printing, one of the thing which I have missed out was the print management destination for those models which we have imported. So in the electronic reporting, if I go back through my workspace, So one of the thing is you need to click on the electronic reporting destination, and you need to map this the imported configurations on the destination, and then you can print that particular invoice. So now I have generated the invoice. The next step will be I will be receiving the payment from my customer, so I can go and create a new customer payment journal, and I can select any journal here, can select my lines, and I can select a customer who is paying me, so it is this customer, and I can use the settle transactions option here. So I can see that there is an invoice which is being posted. Now I can select this for the payment, and I click OK here. Now amount has come here. Now I can just click on the post. So this invoice, the invoice which I have raised, has been settled. Now at this point of time, let's go to the customer account, and let's look at that. What are the different types of transactions which we are having? So I click on the transactions here. So I can look at these transactions which there are like 6,000 invoice, the prepayment one which was posted, and then I have another transaction which is the payment transactions, right? So these are the two transactions which I have it here. Okay. So now what we will do is we will apply this prepayment on our sales order. So let's go to the prepayment here. Now it is pending right now. I can refresh it, and then once the payment has been received and it has been settled against this prepayment invoice, the status should be received here. So let it get refreshed. So yeah, so it has been received. Now next step is I can just go back and apply this prepayment on this sales order. So I will have this apply prepayment option available for me. So I can just select this, and I can say that this is what is the prepayment I want to apply, and it will be applied, amount will be updated here, and then I can click on apply prepayment. Now once that is done, fast forward, possibly you will deliver your goods to your customer. Now you can generate the invoice here. So when I click on the invoice, so I will have all my details populated here. Now one of the thing which you will find additional here is that you have this prepayment tab additionally added, where you will see the applied prepayment which is there. So you can just have it here, and it is editable. You can do the modification to this amount if required. Now I will just click on OK and then post this particular. There are few I think issues I found, but we will talk about those issues later on. Okay, so now I have posted this invoice. Now ideally what we are expecting is that this invoice should be of, like, the balance of this invoice should be of 4,000. So what we will do is, let's do one thing. Let's filter the transactions on today's date, because we have posted all the transaction on today's date. So I will just filter this based for the simplicity. So is exactly this, and apply. So now this was the payment received. This is the prepayment invoice. Now this is our final invoice. Now the balance for this is 10,000. Ideally what we are expecting is to be 4,000, because we have applied a prepayment to this. Now this will happen only when your this background process automation, this one is going to run. Now once this is going to run, right, then only your this particular new transaction or the settlement of your invoice to the payment will happen here. So now what we will do is that we'll just wait for this to run, and then we will check that our settlement transaction is getting generated or not. Okay, now so that batch job has been completed, and now I am on the customer transactions. So now if you see, the invoice which we generated has the balance of 4,000, and if you look at this, system had generated a reversal of your the prepayment invoice which was there. So one thing to note here, if you remember the number sequence, the prepayment invoice will have a number sequence, and the reversal invoice also will have its own number sequence. Now this transaction has been generated. Now if I look at this, it will be your customer credit and the customer prepayment debit, right? So that is where, so your customer advance account becomes 0 because that was credit again, and this is 6,000. So now this voucher transaction is getting also applied to this one. So now if I go to the settlement of this is going to have this 6,000 applied to it. So this is how your final settlement works for this. Now a couple of things which I observed here is, one thing is that I need to click on the apply prepayment and then it gets picked up. Whereas if I don't click it here during the invoicing, I can apply the prepayment automatically, and I can edit the amount, and I think looks like that seems to be not working. So that is one thing. Also, when I create a prepayment proposal, like if I don't click on save and if I have filled everything, still it doesn't read the category which I have mapped. So possibly there are some small issues which are available there in this feature. But having said that, it is a preview feature. As part of the process, it solves the purpose, and I think if you provide the feedback to the Microsoft, they are going to resolve all these different issues which we are having here. So that's it for this video. Hope this helps you to understand this whole customer prepayment process, and you can possibly test it out, and once it is generally available, you can implement for your customers. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.